Hello and welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today we are going to be taking a small break from UFO coverage and exploring the bizarre story of the legendary Bat Boy of the 1990s. Before we get into it, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment as it really helps my channel out, and I really appreciate it. If you want to check out more of my paranormal videos, you can click the pop-up on the top right corner for a full playlist. So without further ado, let's dive into the story of Bat Boy. Bat Boy, the legend of tabloid's most infamous hybrid creature. The 1990s were a golden age of tabloid journalism, where outrageous headlines and bizarre stories ruled grocery store checkout aisles. Amid sensational claims about alien abductions, Bigfoot sightings, and secret government experiments, one character stood out: Bat Boy. First introduced in Weekly World News in 1992, Bat Boy quickly became a reoccurring figure, generating a cult following that extended far beyond the pages of the black and white tabloid. His story, part horror, part adventure, part political satire, captivated readers, spawning endless fictional updates, a musical, and even a place in American pop culture history. But who was Bat Boy, and why did he capture the imaginations of so many? To understand, we have to deep dive into his origins, his many escapades, and the legacy he left behind. And now let's read the article directly from the Weekly World News. Scientists claim to have found an astonishing Bat Boy in a West Virginia cave. The strange creature has enormous amber eyes that enable him to see in the dark and oversized ears that work like radar. Even stranger, Dr. Ron Dillon says the boy communicates with high-pitched squeaks and squeals and refuses to eat anything but flying insects that he catches himself. "I hardly know what to make of it," said the zoologist. "The boy appears to be human, but he is unlike any other human I've ever seen. His eyes are twice as big as they should be, and his ears are like satellite dishes. This boy clearly belongs to a race of people who live miles beneath the Earth's surface. And it is my guess that they evolved bat-like features and abilities to enable them to survive in total darkness. There's no telling how many of these creatures are down there," he added. This particular boy was all alone, but he almost certainly strayed from a much larger tribe or pack. Dillon and 7 colleagues found the so-called Bat Boy during a study of subterranean life in a previously uncharted cave east of Seneca Rocks in the Shenandoah Mountains. The scientist said that he and his team were approximately 2 miles underground when they heard the 2-foot, 19-pound creature squealing frantically in an apparent plea for help. "We turned our lights in the direction of the cries and found the boy with his bare foot wedged in the crack between 2 rocks," said the expert. "To tell you the truth, I thought I was seeing things. The last thing I expected to find in that great depth was another human being, much less one that looks like he came from outer space." Dillon said he freed the boy's foot and lifted him up for a closer look. The child appeared to be stunned at first, then lashed out like an animal caught in a trap. "I couldn't believe how strong he was," continued the expert. "He scratched and clawed and fought like crazy. We finally subdued him with a tranquilizer injection. Then we brought him to the surface and took him to a private hospital for testing and observation. Since that time, we have learned a great deal about him, but we still have more questions than answers." Dillon said the Bat Boy appears to be 3 or 4 years old and has adapted to life in captivity quicker than expected. Feeding was a problem at first, but the boy has been eating well and has actually gained weight since scientists stopped giving him human foods and began to flood his room with bugs. "We get them from laboratories involved in insect research and release them into his room by the millions," said Dillon. Like a bat, the boy cannot tolerate bright light, but he still manages to consume his own weight in bugs every single day by locating their position with his radar-like ears and catching them with his mouth and hands. Needless to say, he is extremely active. When it's time to feed, he moves like lightning. It's the most astonishing thing I've ever seen. Dillon refused to pinpoint the location of the cave where the boy was found or say where the child is being held. He did say that he is planning a second expedition in the hope of proving that the boy belongs to a subterranean civilization that exists miles beneath our feet. This strange little boy might very well lead us to a world within a world, said the expert. No matter what happens, he's going to change the way we think about mankind and evolution forever. This single article was so popular that Weekly World News realized they had struck gold. Batboy became a reoccurring character, appearing in dozens of follow-up stories over the years. With each new issue, his legend grew. The key to Batboy's lasting appeal was how Weekly World News constantly reinvented his story. He wasn't just some random cryptid. He was a dynamic, ever-evolving character placed in the middle of world events. After being discovered in 1992, Batboy was reportedly taken into government custody for scientific study. However, he quickly proved to be too clever and resourceful, escaping from a top-secret laboratory. Let's take a look at that Great Escape article. Batboy escapes. A half-human Batboy that was captured in West Virginia last spring has escaped from the research facility where he was taken for observation and is still running free. Zoologist Ron Dillon said the 2-foot, 19-pound creature was last seen in downtown Wheeling on September 10th. In spite of his small size, the boy has razor-sharp teeth, the strength of an ape, and should be considered extremely dangerous, the expert said. This is a tragedy beyond measure, continued Dr. Dillon, who has been studying the Batboy since his capture last May. This little creature is quick, powerful, and as much as I hate to say it, as vicious as a lion in the wild. If he feels his life is threatened, he will lash out without fear of consequences. We mustn't forget that this child evolved as a cave dweller and knows nothing about our society and civilization. I hope and pray that we are able to capture him before anybody gets hurt. As Weekly World News and other major media reported earlier this year, Dillon and his research team found the Batboy while studying subterranean life forms in a cave near Seneca Rocks in the Shenandoah Mountains. The experts subdued the creature with a tranquilizer injection and took him to a private facility in Wheeling to continue their observations. At the time, it was reported that the boy had large amber eyes that allow him to see in the dark and oversized ears that would work like radar. It was also noted that the boy, who appears to be 3 or 4 years old, consumed his weight in live insects every day. As time went on, we determined that the boy possesses an intelligence rivaling that of the smartest chimps and apes, said Dillon. We felt like we were on the verge of learning how to communicate with him. When he twisted the heavy steel padlock off his holding cell and escaped, the Batboy was last seen heading south, and there's no telling where he will turn up next, confirmed the expert. He moves so quickly that I wouldn't be surprised if he was in Virginia or Kentucky by now. Dillon refused to speculate on what might have caused the boy to flee the facility and flatly denied rumors that a drunk custodian beat the creature the night before he escaped. The expert went on to say that he and his research team set traps in and around the mountain cave where the boy was originally captured. But at this late date, it's highly unlikely that he can or will return to it. Dillon said that he has warned authorities across the country to be on the lookout for the creature. Given enough time, he explained, the bat child could turn up anywhere in the United States. Our task is all the more difficult because the Batboy moves by night and sleeps by day, says Dillon. It's a little like trying to spot a shadow on a cloudy, moonless night. The harder you look, the less you see. That's what we're up against. Later in the following year, on August 31st, 1993, the Weekly World News had published its next story, FBI Captures Bat Child. Let's look into that. Nationwide manhunt comes to an end. FBI captures Batboy, 2-foot-tall creature rescued from Mississippi flood. A massive, coast-to-coast manhunt for a half-human Batboy came to a dramatic and shocking end along the banks of the rain-swollen Mississippi River as heavily armed FBI agents cornered the creature on the roof of a flooded farmhouse in eastern Mississippi. The capture of the 2-foot, 19-pound Batboy capped an 11-month manhunt that began on September 10, 1992, when the creature escaped from a research facility in West Virginia and began to become widely publicized. It is not yet known what federal agents plan to do with the boy now that they have him behind bars, but agency insiders speculate that he will remain heavily sedated and incarcerated for months, if not years, to come. This little bat boy isn't a criminal in the usual sense of the word, but the FBI can't afford to take any chances. Zoologist Dr. Ron Dillon, who first discovered the creature in a cave near Seneca Rocks, West Virginia, in the spring of 1992, told reporters at a news conference in Washington, D.C. In spite of his small size, the bat boy is as strong as a chimp, has razor-sharp teeth, and can be extremely dangerous when provoked. After his initial capture and escape last September, the creature was spotted from Washington, D.C. to Washington State and attacked 6 innocent people that we know of. Critics might argue that the FBI is violating the bat boy's human rights by holding him without cause, he continued. But I studied him for almost 12 weeks before his initial escape, and I can't in good conscience say that he is human. I don't really have any say in the matter, but I happen to think that the FBI should hold the bat boy for scientific research alone. FBI spokesman declined to comment on Dr. Dillon's report and would neither confirm nor deny rumors that the bat boy is being held just 2 miles from the White House in the nation's capital. The expert himself quoted highly placed FBI and Justice Department insiders as having said that the creature has, in fact, been jailed in Washington since FBI agents cornered him on the roof of a flooded farmhouse on the banks of the Mississippi River on July 27th. Dr. Dillon's sources refused to pinpoint where the creature was captured, but it is believed that the farmhouse was located east of Moscow Mills, Missouri, near the banks of the river. From what I understand, the bat boy was trapped in the rising floodwaters and climbed to the roof of the farmhouse to keep from drowning, said the zoologist. Somebody spotted him and tipped off the FBI, which dispatched special agents to capture him within the hour. I don't have all the details. But I'm told that the bat boy was exhausted and hungry, but otherwise healthy when they found him. In spite of his weakened state, I'm told that the FBI approached with extreme caution. They subdued him with a tranquilizer dart and trapped him in a steel mesh net to get him out of the flood and back to Washington. As Weekly World News and other major media have previously reported, Dr. Dillon discovered the bat boy during a study of subterranean life forms in a West Virginia cave in the spring of 1992. The expert took the creature to a research facility in Wheeling for further study. Before the bat boy managed to escape in September 1992, Dr. Dillon determined that his enormous amber eyes enabled him to see in the dark and that his oversized ears worked like radar. In the weeks and months that followed, the creature was spotted in no less than 27 states. As late as July, a Las Vegas businessman claimed to have trapped the bat boy in his garage, and Dr. Dillon actually jetted to the city in a bid to recover him. But by the time he arrived, the creature had vanished and somehow made his way to Missouri in time to be trapped by the flood. Then, as now, the zoologist contends that the bat boy belongs to a race of creatures that have lived underground for thousands of years. The FBI is keeping the bat boy under wraps at this point, but down the road he'll have to be turned over to scientists who can find out who, and what, he is, Dr. Dillon said. Bat boy would continue to escape and be recaptured several times throughout the years. Bat boy would get into crazy hijinks, even stealing a car and going on a joyride, resulting in a highway police chase. On January 14, 2003, Weekly World News would publish this article on this story. Detroit. Bat Boy, the world's favorite winged freak, went on an incredible, death-defying joyride through Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio after carjacking a brand new Mini Cooper and is still on the lam somewhere in America. The brazen theft took place in the crowded parking lot of a Mini dealership. Eyewitnesses report that the Mini Cooper's owner had just accepted the keys to the vehicle when Bat Boy jumped out from behind some bushes, snatched the keys, and sped away. The whole thing happened in a matter of seconds, says the car's horrified owner, who asked not to be identified. The dealer had just handed me the keys when this monstrous creature appeared out of nowhere and tore off like a bat out of hell. Police suspect that Bat Boy had been casing the dealership for hours, waiting for just the right moment to strike. 2 employees gave chase, but Batboy quickly lost them in traffic. Police say they are looking for a red Mini Cooper last seen around Akron. A police spokesman says, "That little speed demon was heading east on Interstate 80. We urge all motorists to be on the lookout for this car and to notify authorities if they see a Mini Cooper driven by a bat-like creature." There were numerous sightings of Batboy following the theft, but the police have been unable to locate him, and he remains at large as of this writing. "We know where Batboy has been during his little adventure. We just don't know where he is now," notes FBI Specialist Agent Jack Trasker. "We've been tracking his movements via reports of gas station drive-offs. Apparently Batboy is stealing gas when the tank runs low and drives away before police can respond." Batboy learned how to drive while working with the U.S. military combating terrorism in Afghanistan. Secret military files leaked to Weekly World News report that he stole at least 2 Jeeps and a tank during his stint there. Since returning to the United States, Batboy's behavior has become increasingly erratic. 3 months ago, he escaped from government custody and became a fugitive. Police reports collected from stunned onlookers put Batboy in at least 3 different states. Sightings include the Detroit Zoo, where he was believed to be looking for a quick snack. Drive-through of an Indiana donut shop. Several police officers taking a break in the shop gave chase, but Batboy managed to lose them in traffic. Interstate chase in Ohio, with cops in hot pursuit. Batboy whizzed down the interstate at speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour. Authorities are desperate to recapture Batboy and have asked the nation's driving public to immediately report anything unusual. FBI and police scoured the tri-state area via car and helicopter, but they're no closer to capturing Batboy than they were 3 months ago. Hell, he could be 1,000 miles from here by now, notes Agent Trasker, who has been on Batboy's tail since he escaped government custody. For someone so weird, he manages to hide himself pretty easily. With winter just around the corner, he'll probably head south. We already have task forces assembled in Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida, so when he shows up, we'll be ready. In the meantime, the owner of the stolen Mini Cooper says he probably won't press charges should Batboy finally be captured. "I hope Batboy learns his lesson and turns himself in," the man says. "I just want my Mini Cooper back." Batboy would be seen all over the world in the coming years. An alleged time traveler even declared that Batboy was president in the future. The public reaction to Batboy was a mix of fascination, amusement, and cult admiration. While most readers understood that Weekly World News was a satirical tabloid that published absurd fictional stories, Batboy still managed to capture people's imaginations in a way that made him stand out from other tabloid legends. Many people loved the ridiculousness of Batboy's stories and eagerly followed his updates in Weekly World News. He became one of the most recognized and beloved characters in the tabloid world, gaining a fan base that treated his adventures as an ongoing saga. Some treated Batboy like an urban legend, even though he was clearly a fabricated character. There were fake sightings and jokes about his whereabouts, with people humorously speculating on where he might be hiding. Despite being a completely fictional character created by tabloid writers, Batboy became a genuine pop culture phenomenon. His influence extended far beyond Weekly World News in several ways. One of the most unexpected results of Batboy's fame was the 1997 musical Batboy the Musical, written by Keith Farley and Brian Fleming, with music by Lawrence O'Keefe. The production was a dark comedy based on the tabloid legend. The musical presented Batboy's story in a more tragic, emotional light, portraying him as a misunderstood creature trying to find acceptance in human society. It featured themes of prejudice, identity, and acceptance, making it much deeper than its tabloid origins suggested. Despite its bizarre premise, Batboy the Musical received critical acclaim, running off-Broadway and being staged in various regional theaters over the years. It even developed a cult following among theater fans. Batboy would also make appearances in comics and memes and internet culture. Batboy was one of Weekly World News' greatest successes, representing everything that made the tabloid special: wild imagination, satire, and pure entertainment. However, as print media declined, so did Weekly World News. The publication ceased print operations in 2007, moving online. Though Bat Boy's appearances have been less frequent, he remains one of the most beloved urban legends created by the publication. Bat Boy was more than just a wacky tabloid story. He was a phenomenon. In an era before social media and viral content, Weekly World News managed to create a fictional character so absurd yet so compelling that people wanted to believe in him. He was a fugitive, a hero, a soldier, a politician, a prophet, and most importantly an icon of 1990s tabloid culture. Though Weekly World News is no longer as prominent, Bat Boy's legend endures, reminding us of a time when outrageous, weird, and completely fake stories ruled the newsstands. Perhaps even now, Bat Boy is still out there, hiding in the shadows, waiting for his next big adventure. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you liked it. Would you like to see me cover more bizarre cryptids like the Bat Boy? Let me know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with everything I post, and it also really helps my channel out. If you have your own scary story or close encounter to share, you can either send it in the comments, post on my subreddit r/ihaveaspookystory, or send it to my Gmail, pinkpossiblystories@gmail.com. Maybe your story will be in a future video. Good night, sleep tight, and don't let the shadows bite.